If you crave that corn when it's freshly bobbed, you gotta beat it to the box with the butter on the top. Get with it, man. Start strolling down to the sweets that you're rolling, the best in town.
Welcome to another episode of the Custom Underground, a very important episode as we will be revealing the judges' scorecards and also the Showstopper Challenge.
And
so stay tuned.
And our very important guest for the first time this season, the one and only Showstopper. Showstopper
hey
Custom
guys.
Figures. Oh man, this has been a long time since it's been the three of us.
We're riding again.
How long has it been? Like a year?
Oh, like two, I think.
When
like
was it?
2 years.
2. Yeah.
2. Well, it's nice to be back.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, we really wanted Joey to come on, Showstopper to come on and give his feedback because last time me and Pat we tried. There's a lot of people. At least now there's less people, but now that there's 3 of us, this is going to be a little more less of a mess. So we can go ahead and jump right into
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
I can't promise anything, but hopefully.
Hopefully.
Let's see what we can do.
We'll go into
We have lots and lots of good things for you.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go into the amateur bracket. The amateur for the theme for this, first of all, the theme for this whole category or for this whole round was a video game inspired gears. So kind of the inspiration between this was like Kenny and a lot of these wrestlers' gears from these video games that are inspired. So like, I guess the best way to say this is like, we're not trying to judge it necessarily on like realisticness, although if you took a realistic attire and converted that to this custom, it will certainly fit within the theme. But we're also like looking for like the perfect mashup, like for Nick doing the Scarecrow and Mankind. We're not necessarily looking like would Mankind wear this because that game wasn't out while Mankind was wrestling. So there's an element of creative artistry here. So you're gonna see this be a really tough round, but the amateurs are really proving to be something. There's a cream rising to the top in the amateur division.
Yep.
You want to break down the matches, Pat?
Okay, so first of all, we have our judging scorecard, which is 10 out of 10 on overall presentation, painting skills, likeness originality, complexity, and workmanship. So you can get a total of 50 points unless you're the Showstopper Challenge winner. Thank you, Showstopper. And you get an extra 3 points if you... So, which both of our people did.
Yeah.
So, which one do we want to start off with?
Well, I think we can get Frage out of the way. Frage would be the first one normally, But Frage, unfortunately, Burt Fakes had to pull out. So Frage was the only one completing this, or his figure. And man, what an amazing figure!
It was amazing.
This one was another a God of War inspired one, and that was really cool to see. There was quite a few God of War inspired um, attires this round.
There were 3.
And I thought they each were cool. Frages, I think the one thing is
They're each unique in their own way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here I'm going to share my screen just so you guys can see it. I'll pull this.
I personally love all the details on the accessories and the weapons. How they have the Triple H logos and everything. I thought he did an amazing job, and it's too bad his opponent couldn't finish. But wow, he brought it all out. And
oh man,
you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, I've known Frage for quite a bit. And he's really a master of accessories.
I personally gave him 49, 10 on overall presentation, 10 painting skills, 9 on likeness originality, only because he used the person that most people would think of, not necessarily outside the box, but that's nitpicky. And then complexity, workmanship, 10. So 49 overall.
Yeah, Showstopper, what'd you have?
All right. For Frage, I also gave him a total of 49. Perfect 10s for presentation, painting, likeness, complexity, and workmanship, a 9, just because I'm probably just nitpicking now, but I found the sculpt on the head quite, it could have been smoother, but everything else is perfect. So it's a 49 for me.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean there when we're talking about the hair on the goatee, kind of how it blends in. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen here and go back here. So for Frage, my big thing was pretty much got 9s across the board. I thought like the legs were a little too chunky. I didn't really like the body, but I really liked the absence of white. It was something cool to see. So it was a little more realistic. And I know he said that. He's like, well, I don't think Triple H would wear all white, body paint. So like I liked that red. It kind of gave it like a old warrior feel to it. So I liked that. The proportions were a little off, but at the end of the day, still another great custom from Frage. Obviously, he doesn't have an opponent here. It goes without saying that the rest of the judges agreed, and Frage was always one. Frage was always one to look out for.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, Frage was always one to really look out for, and I was just gonna say what Rocket Jabroni said real quick here. Rocket Jabroni just talked to point off originality, as Kratos was a pretty popular choice, and someone else specifically made a Kratos Triple H. You can see some of the parts of his hairline where it needs to be a bit more sanding. I think Showstopper referenced that. Other than that, it is flawless. Accessories were modified and painted extremely well, and once again, can't call him an amateur. Everyone says that about Frage. Right, Pat? I mean, you can't call Frage an amateur.
Yeah, I'm in an amateur chat, and they say that all the time. I like the fact that he was thinking that Triple H actually wouldn't wear the all white, and then he sort of substituted for that. I think I like that people are thinking like that to make it more realistic.
And look at those accessories, man.
Oh man,
those are really, really great accessories. He's been known to make such incredible detailed accessories. If you saw his character stance, that's where I first knew him. He was making those stands for figures like for Sting, for Taker.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, and
that's where I knew him from. And going back to my scores, like you said, it was only the smoothness of the sculpt on the head where the hairline meets. That's the only point that I took off from there.
Yeah.
If it was smoother, it would have been a 50 for me. Plus, you said you didn't like the chunky legs. Well, it's a Jax figure, so you can't do anything about that.
That makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. I thought it was like elite. That's duh, Lane. But the NWF also submitted his score too, and that was really good. He got 49 from NWF, so Friday, easy one, advancing to the next round. Pay attention though, because
Congrats.
this Showstopper challenge is gonna be really important for you. The next matchup though was Elite versus Ivy.
Hey, before you go on,
Go ahead.
I want to say, Friday, fair warning, next season, you're going to the top.
You're going. You're going to
The
top.
pros, man.
Let's.
You have
Going
no
to the
right
pros.
being an amateur.
Absolutely. Go on, take it away, Mad Reaper.
Yeah, so what I was gonna say, I mean, this Elite versus Ivy matchup was really crazy. I'll admit, at first I was always aware of Elite, so I knew what he was capable of going in. And Ivy, I didn't know at first. And then the first, is it Pegasus Kid, was really good, but like had some things where I was like, okay, this guy's getting pretty good. But this figure shows really Ivy's true potential. This is such a clean paint job. The socks, like the detail, it seems to be reproduced in that small of a scale too. I believe this is some. I'm sure everyone else could tell you more about this video game character than I can, but that's Kenny Omega from AEW.
Not
He actually
everybody.
wore this, right? Like, isn't it from Undertow or something like that?
Yeah.
Or
It's from Undertale.
Undertale?
My kids know it more than I do.
But I mean, it's a really cool outfit, and the colors really pop. That pastel blue on the jacket, I really liked. I'm not even sure if he used Mattel's puffer jacket mold, that vest for the Usos, or not. But I know from my personal score, I guess I can just run down my personal score here, so I'm not talking too much on each one. But Elite.
Wait up.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you guys already say Raka's score for Friday?
Oh, well, the score for Friday, Rocket Jabroni, yeah, Rocket Jabroni had, what did I say it was? It was 47.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Friday, yeah, got 47, 49, 45 from all the three that I'm looking at over here.
Okay.
So,
All right, just
It's safe to say Friday moved on.
the Elite Player Ivy matchup, though, I'll go ahead and just give my scores for both of them. A little bit of what I liked, what I didn't like. For Elite, I gave 10s across the board besides complexity. This was one of the things where I really liked the paint job. The complexity is what knocked it down, because it was tough, because a lot of these inspired gears don't really require a lot of new sculpting and stuff, so it could be a repaint, but this repaint was executed phenomenally. Elite got a 49 from me. Ivy's got a 50. This was a really tough one, because it was really tough, but looking at the slippers, looking at the socks, the cleanliness of the lines, the sculpt work on the arms, I just had to go ahead and say Ivy had to do a little bit more work to get his end result. I really love Elite players. I love the lights. I love the contrasting paint. I love how you get the glow effects with that really light blue. And then I also love how you mix in that silver and the black for the knee pads. All your detail is perfect. It's just Ivy, in that simplicity, really knocked it out with his colors. Like those white, the jacket and the jacket and the shirt. If he would have messed that up, it would really look terrible. So it has to be really clean to look as clean as it looks. So for that reason, that's why I picked Ivy. Take it away, one of you guys.
Pat, want to go?
Okay, so I'm the controversial judge for once. I'm never the controversial judge, but for me, a wrestler cosplaying as a wrestler has to have a wrestler. That was my thoughts. So I did knock down slightly on the likeness originality, but I had Ivy at 46 and Elite at 47, much for the same reasons that you did. Obviously, Ivy nailed it. I love the pastel blue jacket. I love the pastel pink slippers. I love the on Elites, like you said, the effects that make it actually look like lights. I didn't think you could do that without actually having lights, but he did an excellent job. It was super close, so by 1 point. Take it away, Showstopper.
All right. Let's talk about Ivy's first. Like you both, I did this one. Well, let me just say the scores first. For Ivy's, I had 10 for overall presentation. a lot has to do with how clean the pictures were taken.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true too.
it really helped. Really helped the entry. And then 10 for painting skills because um, that blue was really painted quite well. I didn't see any lumps or clumps or whatever. It was pretty smooth. And then for likeness and originality, I gave him 9, complexity 9, and workmanship 9. So a total of 47 for Ivis. And for elite, presentation is a 9, painting skills is a 9, likeness is a 10, complexity is a 10, and workmanship is a 9. So I have both of them scoring a total of 47 each.
That's fair. I mean, I can totally see that.
Now, I gave 10 for elite players complexity because even though it's a repaint, it's not an easy repaint to do. So
That's true. Absolutely.
here's an example of not so much in the sense of you add a lot of I guess sculpting or additional accessories. It's more on painting, and the way he painted it, the details on it, like you said, the mix of the gray and the blue to get that kind of metallic, I don't know, aged,
Yeah.
silvery, whatever. Uh, that's not easy to do, and doing it as smooth as I see it on the pictures. Um, that's why I gave it a 10 for complexity.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all the judges, this was a close one, but I think, looking at what Ivy's did, or Ivy, the NWF actually had this scored pretty much the same way. He had 8s across the board. Besides, for elite player, he had 7 for painting skills and complexity. So I think that's a lot of the same things that we had already discussed. But so for the NWF, he had 40 for Ivy and 38 for elite players. So that means that the NWF would have Ivy's going forward as well. I'll go ahead and talk about Rocket Jabroni's here too real quick. For Rocket Jabroni, elite player, scored really high across it. He got a 7 on the complexity. So his notes are great representation of all-in Sub-Zero inspired gear. Pairing is perfect. Shading on the torso is a nice touch, and hair has a nice gradation from black to icy blue. He got a 41, which is a great score from Rocket Jabroni. But then the Ivy's custom figgies, he got 9s across the board besides 8s for likeness, originality, and complexity, for a total of 43. The figure really pops. Jacket is painted very well. He loves the socks. Hit is a bit large though, but for 43,
That's it.
that means Rocket Jabroni sending forward Ivy's. That means Ivy, it's going to be facing Friday in
Nice.
the semifinals.
That's a good matchup.
That's a great match.
Seriously good matchup. Yeah.
And that means Elite would
And I
have
would,
to stay
start to-
tuned. Yeah, Elite's going to stay tuned for Gift of the Gods. Going into the next matchup, I think, you guys have any other comments to wrap that one up? I think that's pretty...
Well, I just want to second Rock's comment about the head being a bit big on Ivy's
Yeah.
entry. If I didn't see the original concept of what Kenny wore, that head on his figure would have been fine. But
Yeah.
knowing what it should have looked like, it's a bit big for me. But that's just nitpicking.
We got another one here on deck. This was an interesting matchup. I mean, Anonymous going up with
All
this that Rey Mysterio. That white is really hard to paint. Like, it makes me feel like OCD not
The
trying
white,
to get his picture
The
dirty.
lines getting all perfect and everything on the hands even. I mean, he did a really good job.
Yeah, I can go ahead and just
I'll-
talk real quick
Yeah,
with
go ahead.
while I have Rocket Jabroni's up. Rocket Jabroni went ahead with Anonymous. This is the negative suit Spider-Man Ray. He got 9s across the board besides likeness, originality, and complexity. Rocket Jabroni's big comment here was complexity here is low key pretty high because of the white attire and the line work. Some lines are not as straight as others, but that's almost impossible when painting. Great addition of the sculpted chest piece, which is I agree too. He got a 43, which is a nice score. That's a really high score from Rocket Jabroni. For Megatron Customs, this Pennywise Pete Dunne, he ended up getting a 29. So he got sixes in a few areas. I think it has to do with the final presentation. He says he wishes the picture was a little more clear, harder to see the details. From what he can see, the paint looks a little blotchy and some white spilled over the skin. Cool concept though. Nice addition of a severed arm. So, it's 34 to 29. Megatron at least still showed up. He was the one that edged past Jacked. But Anonymous here coming with this negative suit Spider-Man, Rey Mysterio. I love this figure. This is really cool. What do you think, Showstopper?
All right, for Megatron, I give him a total of 31. 6 for presentation, 6 for painting skills, 6 for originality, 6 for complexity, and a 7 for workmanship. 7 for workmanship because I salute him for trying to tackle white. Nobody tackles white if they weren't brave. So
yeah, that's
props,
true.
Props to him for that.
That is true.
And just like Rock's comments, the white, unfortunately, it is difficult to do, and as a result, we could see how there were some botches of paint that spilled over the skin, and then even with the pictures not being the top of qualities, you can see some of the roughness of the white paint. And as for Anonymous, I gave him a total of 40, 8 for presentation, 7 for painting skills, likeness a 9, complexity an 8, and workmanship an 8. So same thing. I admire them for tackling white, which is one of the one of the banes of my existence, to say the least. I do like the concept of the negative Spider-Man costume. So that's really that one really came. I can tell that it came from the video game.
Yeah.
Painting skills. Although I admire them doing white, I could still see some roughness on the final product. That's why I gave him a 7. But overall, Anonymous wins this one for me, 40 to 31.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty fair score, I think. I mean, all the points that you had, all of the judges we echoed. I'm just gonna jump on NWF score here real quick. I mean, Anonymous, NWF also had Anonymous going over Megatron. It was 35 to 28. I don't have the notes right here for this match in front of me, but I know that the NWF did find a lot of the same things that we all said here with the negative suit Spider-Man. But Pat, you want to go ahead and read your score as well?
Absolutely. I was very excited for this figure that Anonymous made. I got to see parts of it throughout its making. I think he did an excellent job definitely even for a pro, but I mean, he's an amateur, obviously, but he nailed some of the aspects that you'd be looking for in a pro figure, and he did an amazing job getting lines straightened up. I gave him a 40. I gave Megatron a 29. Not a lot to go over there. It was a little sloppy, and some of the paint splashed on the jacket and on the skin. So I gave it 40-29. Anonymous, moving on.
That's a fair. I mean, yeah. So Anonymous moving forward to the semifinals. Really excited for that. I think he deserves it as well. This is his second clean custom, so let's see if he can put together a next one to make it to the finals here. Anonymous is getting closer. This last not the last match.
Challenge.
Yeah, not the last matchup. Yeah, listen to the Showstopper Challenge. The last match, or the last two matchups here. The Strong Style versus Toys of Jericho. This was a really contested one. It feels like everyone online and this was one where, like, after we decided, I was looking at the comments, and it's like, man, I can really see how some people did get it both ways. But Pat, you want to go ahead and read off your scores for this one real quick?
Yes, absolutely. See, I thought the white skin tone on the strong styles was a nice touch. Makes it very realistic, mixed in with the little red flesh tones. I thought his painting skills were great. I gave him a 41, and I thought the Toys of Jericho was a little bit of a similarity to the Friendship of Jericho figure with a much better head, but he's not wearing the mask. And for Riddler, that's a huge thing. He always has the mask. And I don't think he put the mask on because he wanted to display the head, which is understandable, but I did mark down for that, and I gave him a 38, so very close.
Oh yeah, a cloth. Now that you said it, like a cloth purple mask would have really made this figure probably a winner. Or I mean, over the Kratos.
What did you have, Reaper?
Oh man, this one was tough for me. I had it though. I had it 47-47. I had to have it tied.
Ooh.
Based off of the points. I mean, with Strong Style's 3 additional points, he won the Showstopper challenge. He's won both of them, so he does take that 3 extra points. So knowing, I mean, at least on my scorecards, he needed them because to me, I see a lot of like the Toys of Jericho. The line work was really clean. That painting of the jacket, a little bit of that metallic in there, plus the decal work on the legs. I like the question marks. It was tough because the Braun is so well done too. I think Braun was such a refreshing character from a Triple H. So this concept from Strong Style was executed so well, and featured that torso
I really
swap.
like that outside the box.
Yeah. Well, choosing Braun, but for me, they were tied 47-47. Obviously, with the points, it would put Strong Style over. But to me, this was a really close match. What about you, Showstopper?
All right.
I like to add just quickly that my 41 was without the point. So it would really be a 44. So since you got the 3 extra points.
All right. Well, scoring these matchups, I really didn't take into consideration who won the Showstopper challenges. So I actually already forgot the Strong Style won it. So saying that, I gave him a total of 40 for this one. Presentation an 8, painting skills an 8, likeness and originality a 9, complexity is a 7, and workmanship is an 8. I gave him a 9 for likeness and originality because to me it is an original idea. I like the fact that, well, when you think of Kratos, Triple H would be the first person that you'd think of, right?
Yeah.
So this one is a breath of fresh air using Braun. It actually reminds me of the Mountain from Game of Thrones, looking at this figure.
Yeah.
So that's why he got a 9 from me. Complexity was his lowest score here among the others at 7, only because if you take away the accessories that he used, which I believe came from a different figure, the only thing that he probably, or I can easily say he did, was to paint the body and the pants and some works on those boots. So that's why it's 7. But workmanship is an 8 because even though he used parts from a different figure, it was a nice choice because it fits so well.
Yeah.
The figure. You wouldn't, if you aren't aware of the other figures out there, you'd think that this was, the accessories on this was meant for him. So nice touch on that.
That's very true. Yeah.
Move.
Very true.
Right.
And Toys of Jericho.
Again, a total of 40 for Strong Style. Now on to Toys of Jericho. I gave him a total of 39. 8 for presentation, 8 for painting skills, 8 for originality, complexity is 7, and workmanship an 8. Um, Painting skills an 8 because even though it appears that it's quite simple, painting it um, cleanly like that is a check on my book. And let's see what else. Complexity, I gave it a 7 because yeah, there was an argument if it looks really close to the friendship Jericho. So not much going on there, but still, the concept of him doing a Riddler persona or attire actually fits him.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. It does look like it's lacking at least the eye mask or something, just to just to give it a feel of the Riddler from the comics or the video games. So a 39 is what I gave Toys of Jericho, which means Strong Style takes this 40 to 39.
That's great. I mean, that's very fair. Yeah, I've now the more I'm looking at it, man, some black question marks on or some question marks on that jacket would have really made Toys of Jericho's Riddler pop. But the Jericho, I could see Jericho trying to act like the Riddler already. So I really do like that
Yeah,
concept.
Jericho had hats before and canes, so it's not that far fetched.
Yeah, and so I'll just read off NWF score here for both of them. For Toys of Jericho, he had pretty much 8s across the board, 9s for likeness and originality for a total of 41 points for Toys of Jericho. And for Strong Style, this is all before the points, he had 8s and 9s across the board for a total of 42. Again, NWF's echoing a lot of the same sentiments that we had. Rocket Jabroni going on here. Rocket Jabroni's scores are 43 to 42. So Strong Style ends up getting a 43 here with 9s across the board. He says resourceful use of NECA accessories. Here, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
That's the word I was looking for, resourceful.
Yeah, it's a very good use, I think, of the NECA accessories on that Brawn. He says points knocked off for complexity and workmanship. Skin is painted really well with nice shading of red, and sculpted parts look good as well. For Jericho, the Rocket Jabroni put great choice with Jericho as Riddler. Custom overall is simple but very clean. Head shows a lot of advanced paint techniques. Line work on coat lapel and sleeves is very nice. So, I mean, yeah, I agree. Toys Jericho brought forth a great custom.
Been super tight.
Yeah, brought forth a great custom. Strong Style does get the edge here. If you add his points, Strong Style advances the next round. So that means it's going to be Anonymous versus Strong Style on that side of the bracket. And then the last but not least, we have the Rated R versus.
To that match.
Yeah, we have Rated R. Yeah, for the last one here, we got Rated R versus Action Figure Manipulator. This one was Action Figure Manipulator won the Showstopper Challenge. He was already eliminated, but he's back here, back from the dead, taking on Rated R's Sub-Zero as AJ. So I'll go ahead and get my scores read out real quick just to get them out of the way. Rated R for me was 6s and 7s. So for me, I got 32. I liked the concept of the Sub-Zero. To me, the hair staying the same and stuff, it just kind of looked a little boring. But everything else, I thought the parts were pretty nice. Nicely done for the amateur group. 32. For Action Figure Manipulator, I had him a little bit more scattered. I had overall presentation at an 8, painting skills at a 6, likeness and originality at an 8, complexity at a 7, workmanship at a 6. So the main thing here is that I really want to see Action Figure Manipulator take his time more. Like, I really want to see smoother paint jobs and just enjoying the process of making this figure. Like, putting it aside for the night and being like, let's tackle it tomorrow. But I really, at the end of the day, it did come down to the repainting of the hair, and overall the figure looked a little more custom to me just because I still see AJ when I look over there. But it's still, I like both customs. They're both very well for what they are. 32 to 35, I have Action Figure Manipulator going forward. But what do you guys want to tackle this one and see what you guys think?
Sure, I have action figure manipulator at 32. I thought he hand sculpted the holsters and the gun there, so I thought that was really nicely done. I like the effect on the sword. I like the hair, and like you said, when I look at rated R's, which I gave a 31, so 1 point difference. I just wish he would have put on the cowl, so he would have hid the hair a little bit,
Yeah,
and I think it would have been. But
that would have been
either
cool,
way,
yeah.
I have action manipulator by a point.
Cool.
Showstopper.
All right, let's start with the action figure manipulator. I gave him a total of 39, all 8s across the board except for painting skills, which was a 7. The reason I gave it that, I'm not quite fond of the blood spatter that he had on the whole fig. Um, that's something that he could have edited out. I felt that he didn't need that. Just to mention, this is Dante from Devil May Cry.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he's trying to achieve there. Which, when you look at it, it does look like Dante. So props to him for choosing that one. What did I give? Yeah, all 8s for the other categories. The painting on the coat and the boots and the tights could use a little more work. I appreciate the fact that he made a custom sword with based on the pictures. Is that glowing? The tip of that sword? Is it?
It looks like it. It looks like it is. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's really paid, or it's like white. I mean, it does look like it's got it glowing. Yeah, it's really bright.
Yeah, based on the photos, it does look like it's glowing, but I'm not sure how it looks like in real life. But so 39 overall for him. On to rated R, I gave him straight 8, so 40. I like the idea of Sub-Zero for him. Painting is okay, a bit shiny for my taste, but it does reflect on the whole figure, so that doesn't really take away much from the scores. The only reason he got a point over Manipulator is, to me as a whole, the Sub-Zero fig, the work on it is a bit cleaner than Dante's, so
Yeah.
he wins this for me overall.
That's a good score. I really like that as well. I mean, I see where all you guys are coming from. I mean, NWF had it scored very similarly. He had Action Figure Manipulator at 32. And then he had rated R. I don't know if he meant to or not, but he had rated R at 28. So, he has he has it highlighted, but like I think he with the scores 32 to 28 action figure manipulator going forward. I think we both agree on the blood. The blood probably was not something that he needed, and I can see why. He's in the
That's
middle
a good
of combat.
example, though,
But
is you have to know where to quit with your custom. I mean, you can go all out and go and go and go and go, but at some point it's too much. So you got to gauge where that perfect kind of line is.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah. And Rocket Jabroni had, for rated R, he had 6s and 7s across the board pretty much. He had an 8 in overall presentation for a total of 33. He said, nice use of Mustafa mask, I believe. Painting is on the simpler side, but logo on the back is doing well. Sash should just be on one part going down from the belt. Visible glue on the left wrist gauntlet, or on the wrist gauntlet is a little distracting. And then for Action Figure Manipulator, he had 35. Which was the coat is a bit too bright of red. Would have liked to see more of a maroon color or darker shading of red. Sword is a tad on the wide side based on the reference photos, but good effort assuming it was made from scratch. Great detail with the blood splatters. So 33 to 35. Does that mean how does this go? We got
Regular manipulator.
yeah.
Moving forward.
That's a tough
And
one.
that's amazing because it's the first time ever someone came back in the rounds, not Gift of the Gods, and won. So great job.
Great
You
job.
came back and you brought it.
Yeah, so that's the amateurs. Hang on, the amateurs. After this, we're gonna talk about the Showstopper Challenge real quick. It's gonna be really important for you guys. The pros, the pros. We're gonna go into the pros now. Man,
Here we go.
these pros were what was like. I'll just say this first of all. Uh, I think when we wanted to start this custom underground and bring it back for this third season, it was at a low point in all of our creativity. The world is crazy right now, and we hope you all are staying safe. But like, this is where we were like really creatively dry, and this round, the customs that these guys brought out are the kind of customs that inspiration is made out of. Like, these are the customs that make you want to go ahead and start making some for yourself. So I know it did for me at least. So with that being said, man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the hotly contested one here. This one is the hardest one that we could have ever judged, and it happened to happen at this round of this match. Chase, the guy last round brought Rey Mysterio. That was a really tough match. He managed to edge out Gustador, and now Chase brought this psycho Tommaso Ciampa. That just looks amazing from Borderlands with the art and everything against Nick. And so a little bit about Nick. Nick is crazy. He's a veteran of the Custom Underground. He's one of the only contestants to participate in every single season. And so Nick has been in the finals two, I believe, if not the last one. Yep. For sure. He was in the finals in the last season. So Nick is a veteran coming into this, and man, he knows what it takes to bring the Custom Underground. It's crazy because, like, the previous seasons, there was always one Nick's Custom Toys. You'd see his style, his overdone sculpting in a complimentary way. But now it's like BW and Forbidden, and Demon, everyone's just like, hey, we see you and we're going to do this too. So this is a crazy round. That being said, Nick is coming into this with a 3-point advantage, and he couldn't have needed it more at this time, because this custom, 3 points, I'll tell you what, will make or break this matchup, and you guys will find that out here. I'm gonna give a lot of my other judges more time to talk here, so I'll just get mine out of the way. This was a 48-47 for me. I had Nick 48, Chase 47. And what was really, really, really tough for me is that I really loved the Borderlands art as a figure. I love the tape, all the different textures, the outlining. I thought this looked really realistic. The crutches, accessories. I'm a Batman fan, so I had to put that biasness aside. But the Scarecrow and Mick Foley. At first, this is like, oh man, why did Nick choose these colors? Because I felt like he could have picked a lot more colors to pop. Never mind the amazing sculpting that's apparent right away from the head and the wrist gauntlet. But as soon as you start looking in the legs a little more and that patchwork on the side of the legs, you start to see Nick painting the skin tone over. So like what you start to see is like a leather patch sculpted with the stitching on this side. And although it's just black and brown, there's a lot more colors here at work. There's a dry brushing effect on these black jeans or black pants to make them look dirty. There's some grays and some browns to really get this black, these otherwise normal pants, some of that depth. So at the end of the day, it was really, really tough, but it came down to a full body paint job versus the Tommaso Ciampa, who has the full body paint. But to me, it felt like Nick's took just a little bit more of that complexity factor there. On its face, so man, Chase had such a great figure. I love this figure. This possibly is figure of the round, just based off of concept and vision. So if Chase doesn't move forward, I'll say it now though. Like, if you don't move forward because of the points, pay attention to the Gift of the Gods, because this is the kind of custom that can put you back into the finals. This is what the Gift of the Gods for, you know. Close matches.
And we saw a tease of that with Action Figure Manipulator, where he was able to come back and then, win his round, which is going to be similar to what the Gift of the Gods is.
Right.
Nick, in every season, has brought it, been amazing, but now he's being pushed with all these other wonderful customizers, and he's going even further. I think it's kind of scary personally, but I love it. And the amount of work he put into this and the amount of work Chase Arcade put into this, I'm just going to be honest. I had it 49-49, and that means Nick wins it because of his 3-point advantage. Showstopper challenge, I cannot say it enough, and every round is so important.
Really?
You put everything you have into it, that you'd never know when it could come in use. So
Because if Chase had won this Showstopper challenge, he would be the one winning. You know, like that Showstopper challenge, it's an optional thing, but you can tell that it also has real consequences. You know, so
absolutely.
All right, my turn.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Well, I was shaking my head because Reaper, everything that you said about Nick, about the painting and stuff, kind of contradicts how I scored it. So I was shaking my head because I gave him a 48 total. Presentation 10, painting skills 9, originality 10, complexity 9, workmanship 10. That was my only bullet point, the painting on it. To me, given Nick's ability and his level of how he works, I found the browns, the overall look or feel. Well, it's Scarecrow, so there's really not much color to it. But I just felt that with Nick's abilities, I wish he had chosen something with a little more color, just to show off what we could do.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. I mean, that color palette, I wish there was more poppy colors. I second that for sure.
But as Scarecrow, that's the best paint that you can do. It's because it's Nick,
well, that's an important thing. Is it's about who you choose and what custom you do. So sometimes you can put yourself at slight disadvantage by picking a certain one.
Oh, it's super true. I mean, I would want to do a Batman figure, but if you do all black, it could really get washed away. So, I mean, the character choice is really important to the color palette. And in a custom tournament like this, the colors can really, when they're side by side, colors matter. I'll just say that.
That's right.
Continue, Showstopper. Continue.
That's the last point that I'm gonna make. That the reason I gave it points 9 for painting is because of what it's up against.
Yeah.
So we go to Chase Arcade's Borderlands type figure, which is such a smart choice to do.
It is.
The painting of it, the cell shading of it. Well, first of all, I love the art style of Borderlands. So
cell
this
shading.
one for me,
yes,
is so great to see. I gave him all 10s except for presentation, which is a 9, only because of how the pictures were taken. This isn't a knock on Chase's style per se. It's just because comparing it to how Nick, which is his opponent, how he took the pictures, the presentation of his entry, that's the reason why I gave it a point down.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's really important how you present your entry. As much as I love this figure so much, the champ, I mean, I have to give it a point down because his opponent did a better presentation of his entry. So that's the explanation to that. But overall, I gave Chase Arcade a 49, winning it for me over Nick's 48.
That's amazing.
But then he gets the 3 point, right?
Right.
That is without the 3 points yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Without the 3 points, so Chase would win on Showstopper's cards there. I completely agree.
I would say what you guys are saying though. Looking at the figure, you see the browns, and then you look at his opponents right next to him, and those oranges and yellows, much like Showstopper's shirt there, pops out.
How did you score this one, Pat?
I had this 49-49, so Nick gets the extra 3. Nick advances.
So yeah, this is gonna kind of echo the story for the rest of the judges here. NWF had this one really close as well, but he actually had he agreed with Showstopper. He has Chase Arcade winning. It's actually 47-40. I believe that's 49. So or 48. So 47-48. That's before the points. Nick will end up winning with that, but on its face, Chase would win here. There's a lot of, I mean,
That is
Showstopper.
why the Showstopper challenge is so important. It will give you an edge
When
of
you
some
nailed it
sort.
with that shell shading style, which was so much like uh, you see cosplay models and people able to recreate that kind of design with their cosplays design with makeup. So like that's what I thought was so cool about that Champa figure because you
That's
could
true.
see him coming out like that.
Exactly. That's
I agree.
also one of the points why I really love this, because you can actually do this in
Yeah,
for real. Yeah.
yeah, that was so cool. I mean, I'll go ahead and pull up Rocket Jabroni's here real quick. Rocket Jabroni had Nick's Custom Toys Mankind 50. He had Chase Arcade 52, so he had it tied.
Wow.
He had the
Wow.
Mankind sculpt work, amazing as always. Nice tie-in with the Fear Toxin Glove and Mandible Claw. I could tell a lot of thought was put into the design. As far as Chase Arcade goes, he says nailed the style perfectly. Love the details on the elbows and knee pads. Accessories really complete the package. In my opinion, Chase's best custom. Hey, one more time. That was Chase's best custom right there, and that was an amazing custom. And absent the Showstopper challenge right here at this point, Chase would be going forward. Showstopper has him forward. NWF has him forward. Well, I guess this would be tied, right? Well, this is a rough one.
I had
Either
it tied.
way,
Yeah.
Nick has the points. The 3 points put Nick forward onto the next round. Nick's going to be the first of the professionals going to the semifinals. Big matchup there. We're just going to keep rolling. We got these. I mean, now
Before we
that the
move
big
on, I
one's
want to
out of
say
the way.
one thing.
Oh, go ahead, Pat.
I just want to say thank you, Rocket Jabroni and NWF, for being in our judges chat. It's absolutely amazing to hear everyone's opinions and thoughts on everything. And, everyone has a little bit of different view. So I just appreciate you guys being in there, as I'm sure Matt Raper and Showstopper do as well.
Oh,
Amen to
absolutely.
that.
That's where the one thing here I'll say we'll jump on here, and this is easy because unfortunately TSM wasn't able to complete. He was gonna do a Tessa Blanchard as Tomb Raider. That said, Forbidden Figurines showed up, and she absolutely killed it. This was just next level stuff for me at least. I'm gonna go ahead and read what Rocket Jabroni wrote real quick here because since this is only one, there's no competition. He gave her a 49. The craftsmanship on the cape and harness is unparalleled. Just seeing the end results doesn't show how much work was put into them. Work in progress pictures were insightful. Some visible paint streaks on the shoulder plate, but that's just being nitpicky. So 49 out of Rocket Jabroni, and for me, Forbidden got a 50, as though it mattered, but like really this concept was really cool for me, and I liked the new colors. This really shows like this is scary. This is weird. I'll just say this real quick. I think that there's a new wave of customizers. I felt like when we were in it and getting there, like I felt like new coming to everything, and I felt like I was kind of a different wave coming forward because there was a lot of existing veterans, and now I feel like there's another wave coming forward in round or in this custom underground season 3.
True.
Everyone's just doing insane level of quality.
Crazy.
It scares
Crazy.
me. Um, to know that they could do this in two weeks, and I think, to be honest, I'll even put Forbidden over here even more so. Like, I don't think she started for a week, and that's this is what's really
Yeah,
crazy.
because she had other customs she was doing,
I
and
know.
head sculpts and everything. So, wow.
Yeah, so
I'll
I
go
mean,
ahead
I
with
had
my
it
score
50.
and my thoughts. Yeah, I gave her a 50 as well. And I'm going to be honest, I could sit here for a week and talk about the details that she put into this. I mean, you got to follow her Forbidden Figures. Go follow her. Check her story every day because she's constantly adding new things to the story, the process of her details. And like I said, I could talk a week about it, but just go follow her and you'll see it for yourself. It's absolutely amazing.
Showstopper, what do you got to say on this one?
All right. Well, I gave Forbidden a 49. So everything was perfect. Look at that cape. Me and my son were very big fans of Assassin's Creed.
As was
So
I.
when I showed him this, and he lost it, man.
That's cool. That's cool.
That cape alone, plus that, what do you call that thing on the abdomen there? A buckle or
Yeah, I would like
or
call it like
corset
a.
or whatever it is.
Yeah, of
The
course that would be.
workmanship on that, it's insane.
It's insane.
The shoulder pad is insane. Everything is insane. The only thing that made it 49 instead of 50 for me, and this is probably just personal preference. The hair on this figure. I personally am not really a fan of the lifelike hair or doll-like hair, but I guess it's just me. But I respect the craftsmanship to do that. I don't know how to do that. But as a designer myself, I guess it boils down to personal preference. So I'm not knocking her for doing it. I admire that style as well. It's just probably just not for me. So
Right.
given that, still crazy, 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 crazy great.
We are going to
a
have to go
solid
out and buy
49.
dictionaries to come up with new words for the
True.
credibility of this.
True. I wouldn't be surprised if Pat buys this one as well as Chase's.
We're gonna side bet.
So,
Taking side bets now.
yeah.
Oh.
So who else do we got?
Yeah, for
uh,
NWF, last thing he would say, NWF had 47 for Forbidden. I'd say he'd probably echo a lot of the same sentiments you had. So, wow, what a great showing though from Forbidden figurines.
that cape is crazy, stupid, great, man.
Oh man, this one. Speaking of contests, this one right here, you guys get ready to go on deck. This is BEW versus Black Mass. This was a tough matchup here. I'll read real quick what the NWF had to say. At BW and Black Mask. BW he ended up giving a 40 or 50. 50 to 43. So the 50 Seth Rollins is Witcher. I think I'll just say this too. I'll go ahead and say it. I gave him 50 as well. 50 to 43, I would say at the end of the day, I'm sure NWF wrote something about these both were really well and really cleanly done. Likes the painting on both of them, but the design for the Iron Man leaves just a little bit more. Well, actually, the design for Iron Man is perfect. It's like a perfect Golden Age Iron Man. The only thing is that you probably wanted to bring a little bit more details into the pants for the red, and you might have wanted to shift in a little bit more of those golds just to have a little bit more of that depth from your color palette to add a little bit of that texture. But that being said, I love that head scan of Kenny. I just think it's phenomenal. I can't put it over enough because I made it. But the second one, that one, no, I really liked it though. That Black Mask was great. Because the Kenny did that with the Terminator, so it
You know
makes
what's
sense.
so awesome about that is
with
that you
the-
just slipped that in there so casually, like because I made it.
It's a Mad Reaper thing to say, but I have it 50 to 45. I can't say anything bad about Black Mass. I really love that figure too. It's super clean. The line work on the boots. Black Mass, you did amazing work, and you brought it against someone who, I'll just say it. If a lot of people heard they had to show up a custom against BW in a tournament, a lot of people might just get sick out of the sudden. But Black Mass, you showed up and you brought it. And you killed it. I'm really impressed with your line work. I'm really impressed with the red and the golds. I just wish that the design would have let a little bit more detail into them. BEW, can't say anything more. You're really... That chainmail, to sculpt that chainmail is another level of insanity that you practice that, and that practice could tell. If you guys amateurs take note, BEW took practice sculpting the chainmail so that way he could sculpt it on the final figure, and that is ultimately at the end of the day dedication and perfection of the craft. I always talk about Showstopper's ability being muscle memory. I mean, you can't at some point your muscles take over, and that's the repetition, that's the practicing. So take your time, amateurs, because this is the kind of stuff that legends are made of. No joke. But go ahead, you guys talk about your guys' scores.
I'm legally required to say that's not really Showstopper. The real Showstopper has 6 arms and is in the basement right now producing more figures. But no, for me, I think this Black Mass is a figure going up against other figures. Could have won. I'll reiterate what you said about the pants. They're a little bit plain, a little bit more detail perhaps, but it was a great attempt. The head was very nice, by the way, Mad Reaper. And like you said, with BW, the chainmail is absolutely phenomenal. He's going to have a video up about how to do the chainmail. He mentioned that in the amateur chat. The logos, are amazing, like the belt buckle. And the best part about this is the way he did this with the half white and half black hair and the accessories. I could see Seth coming out like this. So I gave him 50.
Yeah, exactly. I could too.
On my end, it's a no-brainer looking at BW's work. It's a perfect 50. Funny thing is, I gave it 50. Well, obviously for you guys already said everything that's needed to be said there. The most important thing for me with this is that, like Pat said, this is something that he would wear. This is something that you would imagine being done in real life. And for this theme, that's the number one for me, that it can be done. You can imagine it being done in real life. So that's the top thing for me when I judge each and every entry. And funny thing is, I show this to my son as well because we love The Witcher, both two. He scored this 49 only because he noticed that he didn't have the wolf pendant, which is very. So that's my son saying that, not
that's
me.
He
noticed
that.
See you, judge.
He wanted to see that wolf pendant that Geralt is known for having. So that was a fun discussion that I had with him there. So 50 for BW. Hands raised. We're not worthy. This is something
that
else.
That sword is insane. That double dragon head sword.
True.
I feel obnoxious saying it, so I can't imagine how I feel sculpting it.
I'm just going to say, all our opponents should be lucky that they're not up against Showstopper's sons judging.
Well, probably in season 20 he'll be.
What about Black Mass?
Be participating.
See you, judge.
Showstopper, what about Black Mass? What did you think about that one?
Black Mass. Here's another one that unfortunately just went against an entry of that caliber. So I gave Black Mass a 43. 8 for presentation, 9 for painting, 9 for originality, 8 for complexity, 9 for workmanship. This is an idea that would work in real life as well. I can imagine Kenny coming out wearing this. I want to second what you guys said about the tights lacking probably some details, maybe some circuitry lines or something. Something. More details would really bring this further to life. Painting red, it's smooth, so good job on that. The lines of the details of the chest plate, the lines on the kick pads are also good.
Yeah.
Yellow is another, yellow or gold, or let's just say it's yellow because it's golden age. Painting that, I looked at the other pictures, the close-ups of it, pretty clean. I did see some paint chips on the back of the knee on the other pictures, but nothing big. So a solid 43. I admire Black Mass for going up against VW.
Yeah.
50 to 43. BW takes this one.
Yeah, and Rock and Jabroni, just to piggyback off what you said, Rock and Jabroni had it 50 to 46. For BW, another custom hit out of the ballpark, set the bar so high with Suicide, yet still managed to top it with this. Detail speaks for itself. I'm actually impressed that the top is removable. And then for Black Mask, great interpretation of Iron Man Kenny. Yellow and red are two of the toughest colors to paint, but it looks so smooth, what Showstopper just did there. The line work is great as well. The only criticism is that the arc reactor chest piece is a little off-center, and would have looked great sculpted to give it some added depth. But yeah, 50 to 46, Black Mask, absolute insane showing. Please participate in this Gift of the Gods because I think you got a great chance. And BW is going on to the semifinals. Well, many might have thought was a foregone conclusion. He did have to fight to get here, at least one match. And thank you, Black Mask, for bringing it because BW didn't have a first opponent. So, really, Black Mask.
Now, let me just add on Black Mask.
Please.
This is an attire that, for me, it's appropriate to have it glossy.
Yeah.
Instead of a matte finish. So this one works for me. I'm not really a fan of glossy finishes, but this one requires it. So good one.
Yeah, we should talk about just real quick, like, the finish really does matter. A matte finish will really make your colors look the most like how they should. I mean, how wrestlers, humans, like skin is kind of matte. Skin can be shiny, but like that's the appeal of Hasbro's. But Mattel's, you don't want them to be overly shiny unless that's the effect that you're going for, right?
True.
When I painted that black pentagon, I was like, this is gonna be a hard one. But if you go ahead and use matte with shiny, one color, just black. Two separate finishes, matte, shiny, you get two colors because you get two finishes. So there's levels to this. I'm not going to talk anymore, but we'll go ahead and go on to Skull King. Skull King versus LH. This was a really tough one here too because Skull King ended up doing Triple H, Kratos, and LH ended up doing, I'll go ahead, and the Luchador down in Mexico. I'll let you guys look it up, but he's a Luchador that actually did do this. This attire from Pirates of the Caribbean. So this mask is really insane, and the detail in it is very clear. I'll just rattle off my scores real quick. Skull King was really good. I liked this overall presentation. I don't know if you need to sculpt some of the wrist tape if there's not a need to. You know what I mean? So like some of that was a little sloppy for me. It came down to 42 versus 45 for LH. Once you take off the coat and you look at the gear, there's a lot of accessories here going on. And the sculpt work is really what ended up setting this apart for me. Although I really loved what Skull King brought. The Skull King, the sash and the head, the tattoo work, I really liked it. At the end of the day, the attire of Triple H really felt like it needed a little bit more. And it's not that it needed any more from a design standpoint. It's just what you were up against. To me, LH edged out that one, 42 to 45. Showstopper, take it away.
All right. For me, I have Skull King winning 47 to 46 over LH. Skull King's Kratos, Triple H. Another idea that would fly in real life. I really like the idea that he did on the axe, using the sledgehammer, making it into an axe.
Yeah, that was cool.
Absolutely.
That's a novelty thing that's really nice.
Yeah,
it's
that
really
was cool.
Smart. The addition of the severed head is really good.
Yeah.
So I could also imagine that being carried around in real life, just like the Fiend's lamp. The sculpting on for that shoulder pad, chest plate, I liked it. Let's see what else. I gave him 10 for workmanship, for complexity another 10, originality a 10, painting skills an 8, and presentation 9, as opposed to LH's 10 for workmanship, 10 for complexity, 10 for originality, 8 for painting, and 8 for overall presentation. So pretty much there should have been even for me, except for the fact, again, the way that the pictures were taken and submitted, that took a point down from LH for me. As I looked at the other pictures for LH, some were blurry. So in general, Skull King's pictures, the ones that he submitted, were a bit better than LH's. So
Yeah.
that's why
You could see the
you know,
work better. I mean, I really
Yeah,
wish
exactly.
LH would, and I think I know he reached out to me. He had some email issues, but I really hope if you move forward that those are getting taken care of, because it's so important to have really good
True.
pictures ahead of time. So
You have to let the work sell itself. You have to have good pictures, lighted area, very clear, preferably a solid background, all those things. Sell your work because, you're doing amazing stuff. Similar to me, I had Skull King at 47, LH at 46 because I couldn't see some of the stuff in the pictures of LH because it was a little bit blurry compared to the Skull King. What did everyone else have to say?
yeah, so Rocket Jabroni pretty similar, 46 to 45. He had Skull King going over. He said he loves the headpiece, Kratos inspired, but still has Triple H written all over it. The design on the tights is subtle but effective. Did not go too over the top, which actually worked to his benefit. Knocked a couple points off of originality since Kratos was done by two other people, including a Triple H Kratos. And then for the Mephisto, that's who the wrestler is. It's Mephisto Davy Jones as from Pirates of the Caribbean. So he got a 45. He said, packed with so many accessories. Wish there was a little more shading on the head to give it a little bit more depth. Overall, though, that was pretty fair.
Yeah, I mentioned something really quick.
Go ahead, yeah.
See, that's the difference now. One person went a little bit under, an action figure manipulator maybe went a little bit over. You got to find that perfect balance. But it worked in this case.
That's really true, yeah. And NWF had it 43 to 42. I'd say he echoed a lot of the same things that you guys said. Skull King, for this one, I had LH, but everyone else had Skull King, and that makes sense. It's a really tough one. So Skull King is advancing to the semifinals. As it stands, Skull King would be taking on BEW.
And again, LH, I hope you come back for the Gift of the Gods.
Yes.
Because all you guys have done amazing work, and we want to see you one more time, at least.
And then the main event here, the last but not least, the rematch. Turbo v Demon 2. I felt like Dana White posting this fight because I felt like this was a Wonder Boy Woodley 2. This was a good match. And the sequel, I was hoping, I went into this saying I'm going to force myself to pick one. And if I had a gun to my head, I could, but I don't, so I'm not going to. It's so tough. I'm good. They're a draw from me. I'll just say that. They're a draw from me. And I'll go one step further and go ahead and say what the NWF had. The NWF also had them as a draw. And so, just to go ahead and add a little bit more suspense, I'll tell you guys what Rocket Jabroni said before shooting it over to Showstopper and the real chosen one over there. We got 50s as well from the NWF, or from Rocket Jabroni. Rocket Jabroni said, great sculpt work on the knee and boots. This was from Scorpion. Great sculpt work on the knee and boots. I'm impressed by how well the tabard and sash were well done. Being nitpicky, I wish the neck portion was sculpted a bit as it looks as his skin was painted black rather than having continuity there from the shirt. For Deathstroke, he said, love the explanation for the pairing. Finn and Deathstroke, the sculpted areas were very well done. Great job in creating Finn-esque attire. The back pays tribute to Joker Devitt. So 50-50, and yeah, Demon Prince did send us too about what he made. Everything was made out of Warbler, but the 3D patch was sculpted. It is 3D. He sent a lot of these details. Same with the knees, and a lot of work was done on both of these figures. Turbo's got an amazing video on his Instagram at Turbo Toys. Go and follow that because you guys really start to see the true nature of the work that he did there as well. That was originally a black leather piece painted yellow, and then the work on the knees. He sculpted those feet, the toes. I think those are called tabbies. Those are very well done. That was what I knocked Creature Will down on one of my friends. I knocked down Creature Will for missing that on Hayabusa. Because how dare he put a Hayabusa in front of me without those feet, man? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like going back to the shins
Wow,
and the
fired.
knees. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love Creature Will. But
Wow.
you guys know what I'm saying. Turbo killed it. Both customs killed it. You guys go ahead and tell us your scores.
Go on, Showstopper.
All right. Well, to me, another round for Turbo and Demon Prince. These two are too good that nobody wanted for me. Nah, just kidding. Both 50s for me. I can't find any faults on each one. Putting it up against each other. Just some personal preferences maybe on Demon Prince's work. I think he didn't really need the body paint under the vest.
Yeah.
Doing it again, you know.
Yeah.
It could have worked even without it. Just the writings on the back would work. And as far as Turbos is concerned, I actually asked you guys for confirmation if it was intentional that the figure was glossy. So I got confirmation. So personally, I would have wanted it duller or more matte. But since it's the glossiness all around, you
It's
know,
intentional.
the whole thing is it's intentional. Then that's just personal preference for me. So given those two things, they're still even. Those preferences aside, I can't fault the workmanship on both. Both shins and knees on both figures were insanely good. The attire that was made for Scorpion here, saying that it's black and then it was painted yellow. That's a tough thing to do. So props for that. The belt, the buckle. Again, this is both for both entries. You could see both wrestlers wearing these. So props up
Absolutely.
for the idea. Yeah. So perfect. I want to see them go at it another time. So
Well,
Just
since
once
I'm
more.
last, I can sit here and talk for the next 30 minutes, and you all have to listen, and we'll, you'll have to wait for the Showstopper challenge, and I'll just go on. And no, I'm just kidding. 50, 50. You guys said everything that needs to be said. Both incredible works. There's a little minor nitpicking here and there that I could do, but it's equal on both. So 50-50. What does that mean, Mad Reaper?
All right, so I was afraid that we'd never get here. No, I'm kidding. This was great. This was an awesome. This was an awesome round. This was a really tough round. You guys made it
How
really tough.
incredible they went 2 rounds and
Man.
we couldn't get a winner. How incredible is that?
And I feel like, I
Yeah.
mean, really, if you look at that figure, just when Showstopper was talking, I was in my head. I'm just like, amen to everything, because as you go, like feet for
Yeah.
feet, done. Shin for shin, knee for knee, calf for calf, waist for waist.
True.
Hand for hand.
Eye
It's
for
just
an
like I wanted to find one reason to put one over the other, and you can't. It's just so close. That being said, instead of pushing it like we did before, right? We went ahead and said we're gonna run it back. We could do that again, but I felt like that wouldn't be as fun. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and break up Demon and Turbo, and we're gonna go ahead and put them on each side of the bracket. So we're gonna have going into the semifinals. Right here, 2 separate matches. We're going to have Nick's Custom Toys taking on Forbidden Figures, taking on Turbo
Wow.
Toys in a triple threat.
Wow.
And then we're going to have this.
Okay. Time
BEW.
machine. 2 weeks. Let's go. Right now.
BEW taking on Skull King, taking on Demon Prince in a triple threat.
Wow.
Each of these triple
Wow,
threats,
wow, wow.
there will only be one going to the finals. That being said, after this next round, we'll have 2 finalists going to the finals. That's when we're going to have our Gift of the Gods. Our final will be a triple threat, as the last season was. So, Gift of the Gods, even if you get out here on the finals, even if you get out in the semifinals, you still have a chance. So that being said, that's going to be how we're going to play the pro bracket. I'll go ahead and I'll say this. We'll go ahead and jump into the Showstopper Challenge real quick. The Showstopper Challenge for the pros, I'll just cover that. So for the Showstopper Challenge for both of them, this was all decided. This is Showstopper, the legit Showstopper's real first chance at hearing why we decided this. But it was my idea to do a tribute tire based off of what Showstopper would do, because Rocket Jabroni is like, the perks for this round, for this Showstopper Challenge, I'll just say this. The perks for this Showstopper Challenge are the most powerful perks that we've ever had. We've only had perks this season, but these perks are insane. So Rocket Jabroni was like...
Last one, we gave you 3 points, which was already amazing. This is better.
Right. And so Rocket Jabroni is like, this needs to be a hard contest. This needs to be a hard challenge worthy of these very powerful perks, because we've seen it play in effect. Chase would have advanced, but Nick won that Showstopper Challenge. So that being said, I was like, let's make it a real Showstopper Challenge. Everyone can do crazy sculpts. Not everyone, but BW sculpting 2 dragon heads on the end of the sword. We're gonna do one custom figure, 72 hours, and it's gonna be right up Showstopper's wheelhouse of a fantasy NWO or DX attire. Whoever you guys want, fantasy attire though. Fantasy DX or fantasy NWO, up to you. Entrance gear and all. Go all out. You guys see Showstopper's feed. That's all the inspiration there. You guys know what we're looking for. That being said, I'll break it down for the pros. The pros, this is what you're going to get if you win the Showstopper Challenge. You're going to choose the next theme for the semifinals.
Wow.
Or you can switch opponents, since that perk will still be there. But let's face it, you're probably going to pick this sexy new perk for both of these. We'll go ahead and discuss we'll discuss the bracket. I'll finish this up here on the amateur side. I'm going to end with letting Pat discuss the Showstopper Amateur Challenge. But I'm going to go ahead and just run down the amateur bracket here real quick. The amateur bracket's going to be Friday taking on Ivy's Custom Figgies. And then Anonymous Figures taking on Strong Style Customs.
I'm looking forward to that.
And then, well, this is why this Showstopper Challenge is going to be really unique here, because now we have, who's going forward? Action Figure Manipulator, right?
Yes.
And so Action Figure Manipulator got the split decision. Going forward, he's an odd man out. What are we going to do with this? Go ahead, Pat. Let's talk about our idea to solve this mess.
Okay.
It's not really a mess. I'm trying to be sarcastic.
I'm not even sure we should do this, but it's a game show. It's crazy. So if you win the Showstopper Challenge, Fantasy Attire, DX and WO, 72 hours, you get amnesty. The finals, or you can switch your opponent. Amnesty to the final, or you can switch opponent.
We'll say this,
amazing. I'm not even sure we should be doing it. It's insane.
This was like kind of like, what was the most powerful perk you can do? And it was this. You get immunity. You're going to go ahead and get shot to the finals. So if Showstopper Challenge...
I should add. Let me just add something real fast.
Go ahead.
So if you get immunity, then what your matchup would be, that person would get plugged into there and you move on. Right?
Well, eventually, yeah. So, nonetheless, I'll say this thing. For our semifinals for the amateurs, we're going to have 2 matchups of head-to-head combat. We're going to have 4 people going into the semifinals, because one of them is going to win the Showstopper Challenge, and one of them will already be in the finals. So that being said, if you win this Showstopper Challenge, let's just say Strong Style. You guys should all try to stop Strong Style from winning the 3rd Showstopper Challenge. But let's just say this. Let's say this. If Strong Style wins the next Showstopper Challenge, he doesn't have to compete in the next round. He doesn't have to do round 3, because he's already going to go to the finals.
He goes straight to the finals.
So then that would be Rated R taking on his spot, right? So you got or Action Figure Manipulator taking on his spot. So you guys see how that works. Hopefully that's a good breakdown. If you guys have any questions, we're always here. But man, this has been a long enough podcast for us. We're really excited to get this guys out to you.
I just want to say how thankful we were to have Showstopper here announcing a Showstopper Custom Challenge with Showstopper here. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
glad to be here.
Yeah, so you guys, awesome round. If you guys got eliminated, really hope you stay tuned for the Gift of the Gods. You guys did great work. This is such a hard contest to judge. It's never fun eliminating anyone, so it's really hard. It's really hard judging other great artists' work. You guys really inspire other artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you guys. It's been a great episode. It's been a great round. We'll see you guys next time. All right, peace out. Thank you guys.
Custom Underground.